Because every time I asked Kapil Dev, he said, Kabir, I was in a trance. I was in a daze. I don't know what was happening. No other project has my documentary backdrop helped me more than in 83. In fact, one of the things that I told Ranveer is, Ranveer, it's not a lookalike contest. Don't get too bogged down by wanting to look like Kapil Dev.
First, Kabir, welcome to the Quint. Absolutely in love with the trailer of 83.
Thank you, Abira. I'm so glad I got that response.
Yes, I messaged you the first thing when I saw the trailer. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's come to 175. You know what I'm talking about when I say 175. So as I did my research and I came to know that 175, that match was never recorded. That match was never aired. First, Kabir, ये बताइए कि कितना difficult था to recreate a match that nobody has ever seen. What was that like?
So, you know, actually, when we started approaching it, I realized at that point I thought, okay, the matches that have been recorded that are there and people can watch on YouTube are going to be the tougher ones, right? But the one that has not been recorded, hey, that might be a little easy for me because nobody knows what happened. I can take my creative liberties. But when I got into the process, I realized, no, that is such a huge responsibility on me now that innings that has, some cricketers say, changed the course of the game of cricket, one of the most iconic innings ever in the history of one-day internationals, I realize it's my responsibility to bring it to the world to be seen for the first time, and I better get it right down to the last ball. So I said, no, I'm not going to take creative liberties with Tunbridge Wells. I'm going to make sure I get to know how each and every ball was bowled, exactly what Kapil Dev did to that ball, where did he send it packing? Did he send it packing outside the stadium or into the stands, into the audiences? And I went there to Tunbridge Wells, and which incidentally is exactly the way it was in 1983. Nothing has changed, even down to the purple flowers, the rhododendrons that come in the backdrop.
That was my second question. You know, how did you get that? Like, that is perfection.
They bloom only for 20 days in a year, so we had to time our shoot for those 20 days in a year. So that's the level of detailing we went into for this film, because there is 5% of that audience that'll say, hey, where are the purple rhododendrons? So I said, okay, here they are. And we made sure we shot them when they were in bloom. So I went and I invited members of the Tunbridge Wells, club, and I said, please invite people who were witnesses who had seen that match. And about 20 odd gentlemen came, and that they gave me a blow-by-blow account, because I had the account of the players. I didn't have the account of Kapil Dev, because every time I asked Kapil Dev, he said, Kabir, I was in a trance. I was in a daze. I don't know what was happening. That was constant. I said, that's not helping, Kapil sir. But of course, I got the account from the other players. But then these gentlemen gave me the account of what was happening all around. Because see, the players also have basically a blinkered view, right, of what's happening in the green room and what's happening on the pitch. But the stories is what's happening around. And then they started giving me accounts of what happened. One of them came up and said, he smashed the windshield of my car. And,
wow,
I ran.
That's amazing. We have seen that shot.
Yeah. And he said, so I went running to get my car out. And because he was doing that, 20 others came to get their cars out. And suddenly there's a mad jam in the car park because Kapil was smashing people's windshields. Now, as a filmmaker and storyteller, imagine that scene. I just have to show what's happening in the car park to show the fury of what's happening on the pitch. I don't even need to show you the fury of what's happening on the pitch. Just the ball coming and hitting these cars and people running to take the cars off shows you what an iconic innings that must have been. 6 sixes, 16 boundaries, many windows smashed all over the place.
My God, just you telling me about it's so exciting to know something that we have never, ever seen. That will be very, very memorable, I think, as a viewer to watch something that you're recreating, which people has never seen. So yeah, I'm really waiting for that. Okay. Because you said the way you did your research, you met people, you have been a documentary filmmaker. That experience, how much has that helped in all your films, especially 83? That experience. Can you tell me about that?
So in all my films, I often say the raw material for a lot of my stories comes from my documentary days, but no other project has my documentary backdrop helped me more than in 83, because the research that had to go into this. I think that the what documentaries teach you is the discipline of research and the systems of research, and that really helped me because unfortunately as a country, Abira, we don't really archive well. It's just not in our culture. I think we're an oral culture. Baap ne bete ko bola, bete ne apne bete ko bola, and this proper archiving doesn't take place. So when I did the deep dive, I realized, oh my God, now I have to do a lot of primary research. I spend a lot of time in London. I'm really
Did you ever
grateful
feel, sorry Kabir, I'm cutting you. Did you ever feel I'm
Sure.
in trouble?
I didn't feel I'm in trouble, but I always knew, brother, if you get this wrong, you got to go to the Himalayas and retire because the country is not going to forgive you. So I had to, make sure that, and the moment you tell somebody that you're doing 83, they say, oh, 83, did you know that happened there? And you go somewhere and say, I'm doing 83. Oh, did you know this happened there? I said, you know what? I need to reach a position where somebody anywhere in the world can come up to me and say, did you know that happened there? And I can smile and say, yes, I know. That's the situation I wanted to reach. So I did 2 years of not only researching what was written, what's been shot, but I started doing primary research. I would go down to the archives of London. I would get names down. I would go to people and try and track them down and then say, what were you doing that day? What was happening with you? And I got this mountain of anecdotes, which was great. But that was then creating a problem for yourself, right? Now you have 100 anecdotes. How do you weave them together into a coherent screenplay? I'm really glad. I took my time. I took 2 years, and I'm so happy with the screenplay and the way we have been able to do justice to the journey of this team. Because truly, the story is only about 25 days in June 1983. That's it. It's from on the 1st of June, the team lands. 25th June, they pick up the World Cup, and everything is in there. 2.5 hours of just this unbelievable, tumultuous journey that these boys went through.
What was Kabir Khan doing in 83? Those 25 days?
I was actually, I remember reaching Hyderabad, which is my hometown. I was born in Hyderabad, but we were living in Delhi. But I remember we would go back for the summer holidays to my grandfather's large sort of extended joint family. So I reached there, and the memory of watching the match itself is a bit hazy, but the memory of what is very distinct is the thought. I remember at that point I'm thinking, why has the world gone mad? Why are the grown-up men in my family crying? Why are people screaming and shouting and running down the streets? Why are people dancing? Why are the fireworks going on? At that point in time, at that age, I just couldn't understand what the hell is happening here.
What was your age?
So I was 12 or 13. I wasn't quite really being able to, and now I'm trying to recreate that madness, and I'm trying to say, okay, can I make grown-up men in the theaters cry when they see the film? And from the screenings that we've had till now, I think we've been a little successful in that.
I'm sure. So have you gone back to your own family and said, what were you doing? What were you doing? What were you doing?
Oh, yes. I think anybody who was above the age of 45 I met in those 2 years, I would say, hey, what were you doing on the 20th of June 1983? And, Abira, I got a lot of ideas from that. It's amazing. I mean, you ask 10 people and one of them would be a story. He said, hey, that's a thought. Let me park that and use it, somewhere. That's really how the screenplay got written. Just multiple stories after stories after stories being put together, parked away, sort of, mental notes, actual notes written on paper. I had these boxes full of notes that I would keep scribbling things I would hear about and just keep putting them there. And then at the end, just, taking all those notes out and say, okay, now let's start writing the screenplay.
But why did you choose 83, that World Cup? Why?
I'm trying to figure out why did 83 choose me? I mean, why did this iconic story wait for 38 years? Today, when I'm making this film, every filmmaker friend of mine comes and says, oh man, I would give my right arm to do this story. And I'm saying, I'm so glad you did.
That's so weird. Nobody did, huh?
Nobody did. And I'm saying, why? I don't believe in, I don't believe in fate and destiny and, superstitious or, I'm not spiritual. But something here makes me question, why did this story choose me? Why did it wait for me? And I'm so glad it did, because it's just been the most amazing journey of my life. I mean, if this was my last film, I have to hang up my boots and walk away, I'm happy.
Okay, let's come to Ranveer. Okay, now why Ranveer? Why was Ranveer?
It was a gut instinct, Abir. I think it's casting. Honestly, actually, not just casting. We can later sort of sit and pontificate and intellectualize about a lot of the decisions we make about films that are successful. But a lot of it is always gut instinct of a filmmaker. And something in me when I was just writing this said, Ranveer is the guy. Of course, the usual answer would be fabulous, most talented actor of his generation, has shown us what he can do with, real characters and how he can change his entire persona for it. That would be the obvious answer. But to be honest, it was a gut instinct. And I'm so glad he was my first choice. And I'm so glad he took it up, because today when I see the film, I just cannot imagine anybody else doing what he's done. And if people are reacting the way they on the trailer, just wait till you see the film. He's going to blow your socks away.
Okay, let's come to the way he looks. Now, were you very clear from the beginning that I want him to look like Kapil Dev? I want him to speak like him. Were these things that were thought of, or did it happen later?
It happened very organically, Abira. In fact, one of the things that I told Ranveer is, Ranveer, it's not a look-alike contest. Don't get too bogged down by wanting to look like Kapil Dev. For me, it's more important that you take his persona, his expressions, his voice. And what has happened, really, if you today also, I mean, of course, the world has gone gaga over the fact that, we can't see Ranveer, we can only see Kapil Dev.
Kapil Dev, that's a great thing. I was talking to Mr. Pankaj Tripathi, and we both agree that Ranveer is not lost in Kapil Dev. We can see a little bit of Ranveer as well as Kapil Dev. So that's a great thing. Like, he has a mark here. Ranveer has a mark here, as well as Kapil Dev has a mole here. Both are there, and that is that is a very
really conscious decision. Yes. Because of the fact that the approach was not to make him a replica.
Caricaturish.
The approach was get the persona. And today, a lot of people who are marveling at how close he is looking to Kapil are not realizing that it's not the features. It's actually the way he is talking, the expressions that he's adopted, the voice that he has modulated, that is making all the difference.
Also, Kabir, why did you choose Deepika Padukone? Also, that was very organic. Like, Deepika would play the part well.
Deepika is somebody I've admired always. She's one of the most superior sort of actors that we have in our industry. So it's really nothing to do with the fact that she's Ranveer's wife. Today in the marketing phase of our film, we can always say, real life couple, first time after marriage. It's a marketing element, right? But it was nothing to do with the fact. I went to her because I knew that she will be able to get. Romi ji's character is a very special character, because when I met her, I realized there's an energy that she has that without which Kapil Dev is incomplete. And that's true today, and that would have been complete. That would have been true in 1983. So I said, no, this character has to come into the film. I wrote the character. I went to Deepika and I said, of course, it's a story of the boys. It's a story of the team, but I feel it's incomplete without Romi. And I narrated it to her. There's a very interesting story also, of course, of Romi Dev in the journey of 1983 tournament. And she agreed with me. And I'm so glad that she said yes. I think it also resonated with her because her mother has been, married to a world champion, Prakash Padukone. So she in some way, I think, resonated with what Romi stood for. And so glad she came on as an actor and as a producer.
We were talking about casting. The casting was played such an important role in the film. Each player, just not Indian player, even the Zimbabwe player. I heard that there are few kids of Zimbabwe team that played their fathers. So please tell me about that, and how long did it take?
Casting was a huge process. I think from the casting of the first character to the last character was between 1.5 to 2 years. More than 2,000 boys who auditioned for the Indian team. They had to first come and show their skills on a cricket pitch. And if they were passed by Balwinder Singh Sandhu, who was our coach from Team 83, then they would go into the audition for the acting. Because, and there's some boys who trained with us for 3-4 months and had to be let go. We broke a lot of hearts in the process. But, we did what is good for the film. They had to be not only good as in acting, but also be great as cricketers, because they were portraying icons. They were portraying living legends. So, and then it came to the international teams, right? How do you cast for the great West Indies? Vivian Richards and Malcolm Marshall. So yes, that was also a huge, extensive casting process we took. We put up a 5-week workshop in West Indies. First-class cricketers were invited to play, because I took a decision that all the international teams are not casting actors. I'm only casting first-class cricketers, because they are being shown on the field and they are in their element. The way we shot the cricket was exactly the way the cricket was shot in 1983. 6 cameras rolling all the time. Not one actor or cricketer there knows the camera is on who. So they're always in their character. They're always playing, and that's why the cricket looks so natural. And yes, we have Malcolm Marshall's son, Mali Marshall, playing his father. Look, he's a spitting image, exactly the same action. We have Clive Lloyd's son playing Joel Garner. We have Gordon Greenidge's son playing his father. We have Chandrapal's son playing Gomes. We have, Sandeep Patil's son playing him. I have Kapil Dev's daughter Amya Dev as my trusted assistant. So we have one big happy basket of nepotism, but I think in this one it really works.
Oh God, that's funny. Okay, that's amazing. That's like I think one of the best casting. I can see Minnie just passing by slightly. Okay, the last question. What if you had to change anything in the film right now before it releases? What would that be?
I just wish the fear of COVID was not there. That's my only thing that I would change in the circumstances in which we are releasing the film. I would not change a second of the film. I love what we've made. I'm really confident of what we made. We celebrate what we've made because it's, as I said, for me, it's a very special film. And I think we lived up to the responsibility that was given to us. And I hope that, when you see the film, you will share that sentiment with us.
I'm sure. I'm just can't wait to see it. Thank you so much, Kabir. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Veera.